Microtransactions.
What's up, gamers? Welcome to Gamer Rant. My name's Kevin, and today we're going to be discussing No Man's Sky next. Alright? I have been MIA from videos. I live in Northern California where the car fire was taking place. So there I was dealing with that. And of course after that I just kind of became on this trend of not doing videos, I guess you could say. Possibly also a little bit laziness, but I decided I better jump back into it before I get too far down the road of not doing videos and I just decide not to do videos. And we're going to be discussing No Man's Sky. Now, when I originally recorded this video, I basically said that I have two questions, and I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions on those questions. But I decided to do this differently. I'm going to explain, we're going to basically discuss No Man's Sky next and its current situation. We're going to dive a little into the controversy, and then I'm going to leave those two questions to you at the end of this video. You can do a video response, or you can comment said reasons in the comments below. So, let's jump into this. Downloadable content.
Microtransactions.
DRM. Pre-order DLC.
Dislike content.
Blind stupid fucking fanboyism. So if we ignore the controversy from when No Man's Sky launched, we say that it doesn't exist. It never existed. We are 2 years in to the release of No Man's Sky. 4 major updates and too many updates to count in between within those time points from when it launched to now. And it still suffers from bugs and glitches. Yeah. I myself, as I stated in a previous video, I was going to get it on the Xbox One, and I was going to dive into it and give you my thoughts and opinions. I've been doing that for quite some time, diving into it. Since playing it on the Xbox One, I've had the game crash on me a few times. I can't get online, join anyone's game. Apparently there's supposed to be a menu that loads up before my save files, but that's not happening. So I can't even basically go online. I can upload my discoveries, but I can't go and interact with other players of said game. So I'm not sure if that's some kind of feature or options that's just messed up, some kind of bug, glitch, but either way, I haven't been able to do it. And then, of course, I myself have also experienced frame rate issues on the Xbox One as well, along with other players from PS4 as well as PC and Xbox One as well. But this is a game 2 years in, and it still hasn't been fixed. Granted, yeah, they're still fixing it. But you have to ask yourself, where do we draw the line from a quality game to a not-so-quality game? Because No Man's Sky is not a quality game. Irregardless of the free updates, irregardless of the controversy, irregardless that they're giving free updates that you don't have to pay for, it's poor quality. And that's poor program quality. Because it doesn't make any sense from a programmer or game developer point of view that if you know your program or software is chock full of bugs, it isn't a good idea to implement new systems into that game or software that's already still has a bunch of bugs in it. It doesn't make any sense. You're just making more work for yourself. Because there's the possibility that your new system could be affected by the current bugs, not to mention the new bugs that will be generated just from the new system you're creating. That is the most ass-backwards type of programming and game developing I've ever seen from a company. It just doesn't make any sense. And you ultimately have to ask yourself, why does this game have such a poor development? Because that's what it is. It's poor development. Why does it have such a poor development? Why is it that there are bugs that are still in the game from launch, and we're already 2 years in? And I think that's what it is Hello Games is spending too much time implementing new features to the game. Which then, of course, begs the question, all right, why are they so die-hard on getting these features, which, by the way, weren't even features that were going to originally be in the game? Yeah, that's right. If they had actually did everything they said they were going to do, then what No Man's Sky currently isn't what it would actually be if they had actually released it correctly. This is a direct statement, paraphrased obviously, from Hello Games and Sean Murray, that a lot of the features that are in the games were never intended to be in the games, and that these were all fan requested. And you ultimately have to ask yourself, why would a developer whose game is bugged up the ass stop and take the time to create features that were never intended to be in their artistic representation of their game, instead of taking the time to fix all of these bugs and glitches that are already in the game? And this comes back to what I think is that Hello Games, Sean Murray, they know they done fucked up. They know that, yes, they lied. Because why else would they basically accept these new features? Why else would they backpedal and make all of these things free within of itself? Because if the game had launched the way it was supposed to, then all of these major updates more than likely would have been DLC expansion packs that you would have had to have paid for. And where do we as a community start drawing the line from what should be accepted to what currently is accepted? Because here's some hypocrisy and total bullshit that I've heard players of No Man's Sky from day one, so they've been playing it since day one, claiming that Hello Games is the only developer who actually decided, yes, they fucked up, but they also the only company that decided to fix their fuck up. And that's not true. I mean, regardless of what you think of the individual companies I'm about to mention, it isn't true. Hello Games is not the only company that is fucked up and decided to backpedal. They're not. And they more than likely are not going to be the last. We look at a non-game developer, Microsoft, with the initial announcement of the Xbox One, no used games, DRM, specifically DRM that will be up to the developers and publishers on whether or not their game will be DRM infested. Controversy, and what does Microsoft do? They backpedal. That's an example right there of not even a developer, but a console manufacturer who decided to fix something that they knew they done fucked up. We can look at SimCity, all right, and Electronic Arts. They released that game with DRM. And ensued the controversy on that game. What did Electronic Arts do? They backpedaled and they fixed it. We can also go back to 2012. Everyone remembers the controversy surrounding the Mass Effect 3 ending, right? Because BioWare actually released an update to fix their horrendous artistic representation of that game within of itself, and its cut, copied, alternate, pasted, recolored endings. So, Hello Games taking the time to fix their mistake isn't something new to the gaming community. We have seen everything from developers, publishers, and yes, even console manufacturers fix their mistakes, fix their fuck-ups. And granted, yes, there's been plenty of companies and even the console manufacturers who have made mistakes and they never backpedaled on it. We can look at the PlayStation with backwards compatibility. Gamers weren't too happy, they made a ruckus, but PlayStation was like, this is what we think of that, and you. So yeah, there are companies out there that are not willing to listen, regardless of how that criticism or how that controversy is relayed to the developers or publishers or console manufacturers. And you know, when I look at this in context, all these companies, whether we're talking about Hello Games, whether we're talking about, you know, BioWare and Electronic Arts, Microsoft, and any other controversy you could come up with where the developers or console manufacturer backpedaled, it had nothing to do really with the controversy and everything to do with money. That's what it comes down to. Because if these companies were honest about the quality of their work, whether it's manufacturing a console or whether it's producing a hit game, they would take the time to make sure that quality was actually there. And they wouldn't try stuff like DRM or, you know, our game is going to have all this shit, and then the game comes out and it doesn't have all this shit. Because yes, Hello Games is not the first company to do this, but they are the first company to do it in such an extraordinary way. Which, I use that in a negative sense, not a positive sense. And, you know, the thing that this then stems from is now we have to jump into another subject, and that's the gaming community. Because it seems like with every major controversy we see, be it political, gaming, or otherwise, but this is a gaming channel, so we're going to focus on gaming controversies, is there's always people that take it way too far. I mean, I'm sure people probably have watched my videos and thought I took it too far, but I mean, sometimes I'm just calmly talking like this, sometimes I'm screaming and yelling, maybe saying dropping the F-bomb a few times, but and I may even call people stupid or arrogant or ignorant, but I don't inherently have ever said, like, the people that work at a game development company should die. Because, you know, Hello Games, along with Sean Murray, also received a lot of death threats from all of this controversy. And you ultimately have to ask yourself one thing. The gaming community, from an adult perspective, is seen as childish. Video games are seen as a child's toy. So how do you expect adults to react who don't play video games when they get on their Facebook page and this article or this meme pops through their feed because somebody they know plays video games, and it's talking about gamers who are giving death threats to a developer or an individual that works for a company? That does more harm for the gaming community as a whole than it does good. I've often said that when you look at game journalist sites, they spend more time reviewing games and announcing new shit. And every time a study comes up or games become controversy at some mass shooting, a lot of these game journalist companies, IGN, Polygon, Destructoid, they're all silent. Which then me as a gamer ask the question, well, how are you a game journalist company if you're not even going to talk about that? So then my point that I'm getting to is that if we're gamers and we want people to see us as mature adults that play video games, that video games is not just for children, then we also need to step up and call these people out. Because it doesn't do any good for the gaming community. I mean, I understand that you're passionate about gaming. I understand that, this is joy and fun. For example, Mass Effect 3, you went through 3 fucking games. I haven't really played the game, but you yourself, you went through 3 fucking games to get to a shitty ending. I mean, I can only imagine how I myself would have felt once I got to that point. And I would have been angry, I would have been mad, probably would have had a few inappropriate words to say. And ironically, I did, even though I never played the games. And I never once threatened the developers or the people that work for the developing company. And this goes for anything that I've ever talked about. Yes, I've said that people were stupid and ignorant and arrogant, but that's probably just pointing out the obvious. There's a fine line between voicing your opinion and hurting the entire gaming community. So I guess the whole thing that I want to say from this is that, I don't have any hate for Hello Games or Sean Murray. I lack respect for Sean Murray, alright? I lack respect for Hello Games, but it's definitely not hate. And, whether we're talking trolls or whether we're talking honest gamers that want to get mad and threaten people, that's bullshit within of itself. So, at this point, 2 years in, it's a bug infested, because, it doesn't make any sense from a program or developer point of view to add new systems to an already fucked up system. It doesn't make any sense. And Hello Games is not the first company that has backpedaled or decided to fix their fuck up. To which I will then say, the only reason why any of these companies decide to fix their fuck up has to do with money. Because if Hello Games did absolutely nothing, could you imagine what their next game launch would be like? They knew they had to fix this. They knew they had to fix it. Otherwise, this was going to screw them in the long run. And it's no different than BioWare with Mass Effect 3, EA with SimCity, Microsoft with the Xbox One. They really didn't do this because they care about us or they care about the quality of their product. They did it because of money. Because if they really cared about their product, if they really cared about their consumers, about their fans, they wouldn't do half the shit that they do in the first place that they later have to backpedal or fix. So, in my opinion, Hello Games has not redeemed themselves from this controversy simply because they released a few updates. I would also say that in my opinion, no. No Man's Sky Next, you should probably wait on it. If they ever decide to do a Game of the Year edition, that's probably when you should check it out. Because I would imagine that the mass majority of bugs and glitches are going to be fixed by then. Although from the way they're developing it, it might be 5-6 years before we even, if ever, see a complete edition of No Man's Sky. So, I leave you with these two questions. Do you think No Man's Sky is worth trying out? Whether that's because you've played it like me, or just from what you've heard me say in this video. And to that, the next question, do you think that these free updates truly redeem Hello Games? Knowing what I've actually mentioned in this video. And last but not least, not really a question, but as a gaming community, we should really stop and think about what we say before we say it. Because whether we want to dog this up to trolls or whatever, no individual or company deserves threats of any kind, regardless of what they've done. Okay, that's probably debatable, alright? I'm not going to lie on that one, alright? If we heard about some big executive in one of these big gaming companies that molested a bunch of children, then I guess I could kind of understand and see that kind of hate, disdain, and threats going that way for that individual. But that's not the case. This is just people fucking up, making mistakes. And the last thing that they need is proof that the gaming community is full of a bunch of fucking children. So why don't we, gamers, developers, and publishers, and console manufacturers, all agree to do one thing? Let's grow the fuck up. And you developers and publishers, you start putting the passion and the love back into developing these games. Make sure that you actually test them completely before you release them. If you gotta delay them, then delay them. That isn't, yeah, you might irritate a few gamers, but at the end of the day, I am more willing to wait for something that at least has some kind of quality to it than something that, oh hey, guess what, day one update. And of course, again, as gamers, let's try to improve ourselves and call gamers out when they say completely stupid shit, like threatening developers and so on and such forth. Because it is us who make this gaming community, be it gamers, game developers, programmers, whatever field you're in. It is us who make this the community that it is. And other people's perception of that is based on our reactions to things that we don't completely agree with. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video in some fashion or form. And remember, gamers, if you're not voicing your thoughts and concerns about the idiocracy within gaming and the bullshit that gamers and game developers and publishers and even console manufacturers have said and done, you just might be a part of the motherfucking problem.